I've been thinking lately. My life feels noisy. Not noisy in the usual sense. I mean mentally, like my brain has too many tabs open. There's too much information, too many voices, too many things trying to convince me that they're important. There's always something else you have to read or something else that you must watch. Combine that with work, bills, chores, emails. It's a bit overwhelming. Then there's the random stuff that clutters my mind, probably even more so. Social media and far too many memes. The news, although I purposely ignore that these days. And interesting rabbit holes that I must research. It's like 20 minutes later, and I'm knee-deep in videos about ancient civilizations in the Grand Canyon. You know, the ones that nobody wants to talk about. Even when I purposely try to rest, my mind doesn't want to. You know what it's like when you're trying to go to sleep, but your brain wants to have a meeting about every mistake you've ever made, while at the same time trying to convince you it's the right time to learn the ukulele. An absolute madhouse in there. There's always something else that we're supposed to care about. Another headline, another controversy, another thing I'm supposed to have an opinion on. And we're being exposed to endless opinions on things that we may have not even heard of before, at an alarming rate. Is there such a thing as too much access? I could be sitting in complete silence, not busy, and still feel exhausted. All of us seek a break from it all. We have that go-to thing. Maybe it's a walk or the gym. Maybe it's getting lost in a really good book. Maybe something less healthy like doom scrolling or binge watching or pouring a few extra drinks. Hey, there's no judgment here. Some of these things have helped me forget the day, but there's only been one that really gave me a sense of something different. It made me feel present. Not present like roll call. I mean present where it's just me and the outside world kind of fades away for a while. For me, that's always been games. It's not a distraction that I'm really after. I'm just searching for a moment where I can exhale and let my shoulders drop. There's a difference between numbing yourself and quieting your mind. Numbing is kind of like avoiding what's bothering us, but quiet actually lets us breathe for a minute. Hobbies are important. Intentional downtime matters. I know that I need things in my life that aren't about being productive. Things that don't make money. Things that don't move me closer to some goal. I need to allow myself space for such things. And gaming has always been the hobby that I go back to. I never sat down to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and believed that I was actually Arthur Morgan. That's not what I mean when I say present. What I mean is there's like a dimmer switch on life's worries. The bills, tomorrow's schedule, that stuff will still be there. But when gaming, I'm more concerned about finding what's over the next hill, or wondering what's around the next corner. For a little while, I'm just there, listening to the wind in the trees, and it's a really good feeling. Games don't make me forget the real world. They just let me lay down the load for a while. When I was younger, games were always a part of my life. My friends and I would get together every week for a scrimmage session. Don't ask, it's just the name that we gave it. We'd stay up all night playing GoldenEye or some wrestling game that was popular at the time. One of the moms always had French bread pizzas and would sneak us little treats. I miss that. That was life, man, for years. And somewhere along the way I realized I no longer lived in the carefree world of adolescence. It was time to grow up. Adults worked, have responsibilities. I packed up my consoles and games quietly disappeared from my life. At some point in my late 20s, I was over at a friend's house. He asked if I wanted to play some Tiger Woods with him on his PS3. I was like, sure, why not? What a flippin' blast, bro. I hadn't realized how much I missed that feeling. It was like being transported back to a much freer time. I smile now even just thinking about it. I went home, unpacked my gear, and allowed myself to dive back into these beautifully crafted worlds again. I still remember the first game I booted up. It was Ocarina of Time on the 64, Nintendo 64. One of my childhood favorites. It actually made me happy. Since, of course, I've decided to step into the modern age of gaming, good lord, my Steam backlog. That's another story. Anyway, I started noticing little things like I'd be at work thinking about Elden Ring, planning my next build, and wondering if it could help me beat the next boss, the boss I was currently stuck on. Or thinking about what I wanted to build in my next 2-week Minecraft phase. Gaming wasn't about being a substitute for real life. It was simply re-sparking my creativity and my imagination. And every once in a while it would spill into the real world. I remember playing Silent Hill 2 for a few days straight. Then one night I stepped out and it was super foggy. And for just a second I laughed to myself uneasily, like this feels familiar. Or something like catching myself when I see yellow paint and knowing that's where I need to go. Those little moments remind me of some cool experience in a game that I had, and I just chuckle to myself.
You stay away from my woman, you son of a bitch! Just a little. I'll give you a break on the cheek!
Maybe that's why gaming feels so different to me. Watching a great movie is fantastic, reading a great book is wonderful, but games ask me to be a participant, to pay attention, to be curious, to use my imagination. Remember playing pretend as a kid? Games still ask us to do that. The game builds half the bridge and we build the other half. And when we meet in the middle, something clicks. Not every game and not every time, but when it happens, it's one of the few places I've found where my mind finally gets quiet.
So that's what you do, huh? Sleep with another man's woman.
Some people might call that escapism, maybe, but I think there's more to it than that. Can games be unhealthy? Absolutely. I've definitely had nights where I should have gone to bed, but I stayed up way too late trying to beat a difficult boss or something. And the next morning I, wasn't the best version of myself. But I've also had nights where gaming helped me unwind and become a more relaxed, patient version of myself. The hobby isn't healthy or unhealthy, it's the relationship that we have with it. When I put the controller down, life is still there. I'm returning to it, just a little lighter than when I left. Gaming doesn't leave my life behind. It helps me return to it with a clearer mind, and for that, I'm grateful these worlds exist. So, what does gaming really do for me? It's funny because the older I get, the less I think it's about the games themselves. Sure, they've given me incredible worlds to explore, and characters I'll probably never forget. Music that still pops into my head years later, and stories that have made me laugh and sometimes cry. But those aren't really the gift. The real gift is that games ask something of me. They ask me to pay attention, to be curious, to learn, to adapt, to overcome something difficult, to care. They don't ask me to sit back and watch, they ask me to participate. In a world that's full of things after my attention, games are one of the few things that actually earn it. These worlds were built by artists and writers and programmers, composers, designers, people that poured years of their lives into creating something that never existed before. And every time I pick up a controller, I get to walk through their imagination. Not just as a spectator, but as an active participant. That's a pretty amazing thing when you stop and think about it. Eventually, every game ends. The credits roll. The console gets turned off. And life is still waiting right there where we left it. The emails, the bills, the responsibilities. None of that has disappeared. But I don't come back empty-handed. I come back with a little more wonder, a little more peace, a little more appreciation for creativity, and most times that's exactly what I needed. Life is still noisy. I don't think that's ever going to change. But every now and then I find a quiet place. And sometimes it's hidden inside of a game, and I'm really grateful for those places.